Welcome everyone. Oh my goodness, it's peak week. Yay! Cue the fireworks, the whatever. It is peak week. Peak week 1 of 2, maybe 3. Like I said in the last video, I haven't decided yet if I'm going to do the October show or not. It kind of depends on how this show and the next show goes. Right now I'm kind of feeling like I'll be done after the September show, but we shall see. Just kind of depends. Like I've mentioned before, I really did enjoy the October show I did last year. It's the same venue and it's just a really cool location, and might do that again. So we'll see how it goes. For now, focusing on this peak week. As I record this, I am just several days out from stage and have lots to do this week still. It goes so fast. This last week before the show, a lot to do, but also at the same time, a lot to just keep the same. So plan right now from my coach has not changed. Let's do some check-in photos here. I don't even remember what I was wearing in these as I'm filming this. So here's the check-in photos and my check-in video. So feedback from my coach was stay the same. So we are continuing with our linear load with a slight bump today. So I did get an increase of 25 additional grams of carbs today, and probably an additional 25 grams tomorrow, but we'll kind of see how I look. I've been sending fasted pictures every single morning. I might insert a fasted picture here just so you kind of see the difference. And I do wake up pretty flat, so the good thing is because I do go on stage so late in the day, I have a lot of time to eat, to hydrate. It's not like I'm having to rush to get food in right away in the morning, so we can kind of see how flat I look. And then I actually just took pictures and sent them in now after a couple of meals and a lot of water, just to kind of see how I'm looking. So definitely feeling like I need a tan is how I feel. So let's talk about a few things I have going on this week. Obviously, I got the show. So what do you have to do before the show? We talked about last week, lots of tan prep, and I have my tan on Friday. So I'll get my initial coats of tan on Friday afternoon, and then I'll do my check-in. The venue for this show is within driving distance of my house, so I'm just staying at home. I decided not to do the hotel. Just a lot of added stress. I mean, as nice as it is to have the hotel there, then there's the whole issue with checking out the day of the show. I mean, if checkout's at noon, it just seemed like a lot of additional hassle, so I decided just to stay at home. It's about a 40-minute drive without traffic. I do anticipate hitting some traffic on Friday afternoon getting back, which is why I booked my tan really early. They start doing tans at 2. You can't do the check-in until 4, so I did my tan at 2:30. Usually takes about an hour to get your couple of coats and to dry, so it'll be good timing for me to do my tan, let it really get dry, and then go do athlete check-in, and then come home and get ready for the next day. Timing for the day of the show, I have a friend who is competing in the show as well, and I'm hoping that she can just put me on speakerphone for the athletes meeting. As much as it's a local show, there's not a lot, but there are things that they say at the athletes meeting that sometimes are really important. So I do highly recommend that you go to the athletes meeting. One of the shows I did, at some point, there was an area on the floor that was not well marked, that was like a divot, and it was kind of in the backstage area where it was pretty dark. So if you didn't know about that, I mean, they eventually did mark it as the day went on, but if you were in one of the earlier classes, you really needed to know that. Typically, it's not a whole lot. They kind of talk to you about when you can maybe get feedback, which is really good to know. If the judges are going to come back after each class, sometimes they'll do that. They'll have a judge come back to the kind of athletes holding area after each class goes on, and we'll kind of give feedback right then. Sometimes they'll wait till the end of the show. Sometimes they just want you to email. So that's kind of helpful information to know. Aside from that, there's really not a whole lot of other reason for me to be there right when the show starts, because it'll be a while before my class goes on. I mean, probably at least 2 hours. So rather than having to rush to get up there and then just sit around for even longer at the venue, it's kind of nice to be able to stay at home, keep my feet up, do my makeup, do my hair, not have to feel like I'm rushing, and then get up to the venue. So that'll be good. Get my final coat of tan, and some of the timing of when I need to be there will depend on when I get that final coat of tan. Because I'm not doing any of the masters categories at this show, I'm just doing open. My tan can be a little bit later, and obviously the men and the women who are competing in those early categories, they obviously need to get their tans first. So that's priority. I know that I don't need my tan first thing in the morning, so I'll get one of the later tan times to get my final coat of tan. And yeah, that's I think the tan part of it, take you guys along for some of it if I can. There's a lot of nudity involved in tanning, so I can't really take any footage from there, but definitely of the check-in and some of the venue, hopefully on Friday, just before it's all filled in with athletes, to kind of get some footage there. Also need to pack my show day bag. I do bring a big roller bag and just plenty of extra everything, so I'm sure I'll insert a video of me packing my show day bag, making sure I change out everything in my house to all my black stuff, black sheets. I end up still using my white towels because I can bleach them, so I have a towel that I've used multiple times after shows that is, it's white, it gets bleached. It's not my favorite towel, so it works well. It does look like you've hosed off a dirty four-wheeling Jeep when you get home from the show and take that first shower. I mean, it makes a mess, so definitely be prepared for that. So pack my show day bag, keep checking in with coach a couple times a day, get a little bit of increase in carbs as the week goes on, and make sure I have everything ready for the show day itself. I do have a little bit of meal prep left to do just to make sure I have everything I need for the show, and I think that is it. So exciting things, nervous, I'm excited, just ready to get back on stage and kind of just see how it goes. So those are my check-in thoughts. Someone has a puppy up here that's jumping up on my lap. Please leave any comments below. I really appreciate everybody coming along for the ride. As I mentioned, if this video is late getting out, I do apologize. Hoping to get some fun footage, and yeah, first show of the season. Super excited. Well, here we are. It is the day before my first show. So just wanted to give a little update, talk about a few things that I'm doing today to be ready for the show tomorrow. Obviously, I'm going to be getting tanned. Clearly not tanned yet, getting tanned later today, and also doing the athlete check-in. That's where you get your number. They measure you so they know what height category you go into. It's pretty easy for me. I am over 5'7", so I am in the tallest height category. So that's all fun. You get your little goodie bag, a shirt usually, and a couple other little random things. The other things I'm doing today is making sure that I have everything I need for my show day bag, and also the meal prep that I'm going to need for tomorrow. So I've pulled out my meal prep bag and just kind of have the non-perishable items all ready to go. As the day goes on, as I eat my meals for today, I'll make sure I'm replenishing those for my meals for tomorrow. Everything's prepped. I just need to weigh it all out and throw those in there tomorrow morning. My show day bag still needs to be packed, but it's really just putting everything in it. I have stuff kind of laid out to go in. The few things that I have laid out right now are my pump-up bands, my suit and my backup suit, my heels and my backup heels. I'll pack my makeup in there tomorrow after I do my makeup, things to touch up my hair. A couple of things that are very important, and some big tips as you go to your tan and also for your show day, at least for me, are rubber or latex like disposable gloves. They're mine are non-latex, but you know what I mean. Like, so exam gloves is what I would call them, but I was trying to find a word that was non-medical for them, and I failed epically. So exam gloves, just gloves. Because you can't get your hands wet, and for me, there are definitely things that I need to do in my daily skincare, everything, that require my hands to get wet. Things like taking my contact lenses out. The first show I did, I got home from the tan and I was like, oh my gosh, what do I do? Like, if I clean my contacts, I'm going to get my hands. Yeah, so things like that you just don't think about until you are faced with them the first time. Definitely having a box of gloves, disposable gloves, for all those little things. The other thing I am going to be doing on show day morning for the first time ever, I've never actually done this on the day of the show, is washing my hair. So I have tried it a couple of times. Again, I'll be wearing so many layers and gloves, and probably another pair of gloves over that. I'm going to put gloves on top of gloves just to make sure that I don't get anything wet. And I've found a way to do it where I have so far not had an epic fail. Hopefully, keep your fingers crossed for me that tomorrow is not the day. So my hair does look a little bit darker in this video just because it's slightly damp, and I put a glaze on it last night. One of the things I noticed at my very first show I ever did was that my hair color and the tan color kind of washed together a little bit because my hair is, reddish. It's got that kind of reddish hue. So I got a glaze. It's just a hair glaze to kind of make it just a little bit darker so that it has a little more contrast with the tan. I mean, like right now you can see that's a really crazy contrast, but like I said, it is a little bit dark, and I just did it last night. So it will wash out a little bit tomorrow when I wash it. So it won't be quite this dark, but it just helps give a little more contrast to your skin and the tan. Most people don't have that problem. Most people's hair is not the color of the showday tan, but mine is very close. So that's something I do to just kind of make it have a little more contrast on stage. When you go to get your tan done, if you are a lady out there listening, I highly recommend bringing your funnel or your shiwi or whatever you are using to help you not have to sit to go to the bathroom. That was another thing. After I got my first tan ever, I got the tan and of course immediately had to go to the bathroom. Like you're nervous and you just like immediately want to go to the bathroom. And I was like, oh no, couple of, the two things like, I can't wash my hands. And I mean, hovering is one thing, but it's just nice to have that with you. So bring your funnel with you, bring it on show day. The tan company is very good about fixing any, mess ups with your tan. The very first time, again, I'll give all these very first time stories. The first time I got tanned, I immediately got an area of it really messed up and I was really worried and I was like, oh my gosh, like what have I done? And the next day she was like this, she's like, this is nothing. Apparently there are bigger issues. It is supposed to be completely dry tomorrow, like 0 chance of rain and also really, really warm. So sweating is something that you want to be, you can't wear deodorant. So sweat lines, just kind of making sure you're not getting sweat lines on your tan. The one thing that they brought up at a seminar I went to once was people with dogs. Like if their dogs come in from outside and their dogs have wet paws and have like jumped on their, parent and have gotten wet dog paw prints all over their tan. So there are definitely things that they can fix, but you don't want to make their job any harder than it is. These men and women who put the tans on, I mean, they work non-stop and they do everything they possibly can to make sure that everybody's tan looks perfect. And I appreciate that so much. So I try and do my part to prep my skin really well and to make sure I'm really prepared to not mess up my tan. I mean, obviously things happen, but trying really hard to do everything I can to make sure the tan stays as perfect as possible. So those are my rambling thoughts about getting my tan, preparing for the tan, my show day bag. I don't know that I'll have much footage from the show itself. I don't have anybody that I'm aware of who's attending. One of my friends said she might swing by, but who knows? So we might just have to wait until the pictures are up on the NPC website, which is usually 4 or 5 days, even a week sometimes after the show is over for these little local level shows. At pro shows and national shows, they put pictures up almost immediately, but for local shows, they kind of get them up whenever, which is fine. So it's usually about a week. So rambling a little today. I am working from home. The office is having electric solar panels hooked up so the electricity is turned off. So I'm getting to work from home today, which is really nice, but it also does give me a little bit of time to just be like, anxious. So I'm gonna have a meal here pretty soon, then do some updated check-in photos for my coach, and then go get my tan, come home from the tan. It'll probably be 5-ish by the time I get home from the tan, and then just finish packing my bag, relax, let the tan dry. All the things. The one other thing that you do when you go get your tan is that you schedule your time for your final coat tomorrow or the day of the show. So I'll sign up for a specific time. I mean, they'll tan you whenever you get there, but again, you just want to make their lives easy. So sign up for your tan time so that when you get there, they know, and then they check you off. So they're not trying to hunt you down and see if they actually tanned you or not. So make sure you're signing in with when you're tanning so they can cross you off. Again, just make their life easier. So I'll sign up for that time tomorrow. I'm not in a hurry to get tanned because I'm going on last. So hopefully, I'm hoping they can give me a tan time around like 9:30 is kind of what I'm hoping for. That way I don't have to get there super early. And yeah, I think that's it. So big stuff. I'll try and do some video tomorrow. I don't know if that's going to happen. I'll just kind of see how the day goes, but there'll obviously be a wrap up of all of this craziness. Yeah, I think that's it. All right. Thank you all so much for tuning in. And next time you see me, I will very likely be very, very, very tan. Well, here we are again. This is going to be the outro for my peak week video. As I record this, as you can tell by my beautiful, glorious tan, I am actually one day post-show, but I'm going to save all of my post-show thoughts for my next video where I kind of go over show day. In this outro video, I'm going to talk about my tan, and I'm going to go over what I had in my bag. I didn't pack my bag with me because I ended up packing it just on show day morning. Really, I mean, I had everything kind of laid out and then I just threw it in on the show day morning. So we'll kind of do an unpack my bag and also talk about what I got in my swag bag, my athlete bag. So, yeah, like I said, it is one day post show, and I've said before that the tan is kind of the worst part of doing a show, but man, Look at this. I mean, I'm like, I love it. I feel like a bronze goddess. It's really nice to be so tan. So when I got home from the show last night, I did a really deep cleaning shower. It's gross. I'll talk about that in my show wrap up, but I did a good scrub. So the tan color today is really nice and even, and it's a lot lighter than it was at the show. So it just feels really good to look down. It's weird to look down and be tan, but I do kind of love it. So enjoying that. So let's talk about how the tan went. I had my tan on Friday afternoon. I did pick the earliest tan time I could get, which I highly recommend. It just gives you that much more time to dry. So going to bed when you're still feeling like super sticky from the tan is kind of tough. So it was nice to get the tan done at like 2, you know, by the time I went to bed. I was a little bit tacky, but I wasn't like super sticky. The hardest part for me sleeping that night of the tan is the smell. If you've ever had a spray tan, you kind of know that smell, but then just amplify that by like a lot, and then it's tough. Like I'm really sensitive to smells, so I really struggle to sleep just because the smell of the tan is so intense. But other than that, the tan experience itself was great. The tanning company, Elite Tan, is just amazing. And it was actually in a little bit smaller room than it usually is. Yeah, don't look at my hands, they look creepy. They really absorb the tan. The room that they were doing the tanning in was a little bit smaller, so it was a lot warmer than it usually is, which was really, really nice. And being there so early meant that I didn't have to kind of fight for fan space, so I dried a lot quicker. So it was one of the hotter days of the summer. I think I mentioned in one of my last videos that we had this massive temperature drop. So like a couple Saturdays ago, it wasn't even 70 degrees, or Fridays ago. Well, this Friday, it was like 98 degrees. And I have black leather seats in my car, and I found out that my air conditioning is broken. So I got back out to my car, and I, had turned the air conditioning on, was trying to cool the car off, and it just wasn't cooling down. So I'm like, well, I just need to start driving. I haven't used my air conditioning yet this summer because A, it hasn't been that warm, and B, I like it warm. So found out that my air conditioning was broken. As I'm getting on the freeway, rolled all the windows down. Luckily, I had a plan to wash my hair the day of the show because typically I've done a refresh, and oh my goodness, like driving with all my windows down on the way home, my hair was trashed when I got home. Like I was literally like trying to put it up in a ponytail with like one hand while I'm driving, and then got stuck in like gridlock traffic on Friday afternoon in 100-degree heat, trying not to literally sweat off my tan. So ended up being fine. Got home, I had filled my water bottle before I left the show location with really cold water, which was really nice. So I just kind of like sipped my really cold water, just tried to stay cool. I had to turn the vents completely off because they were just like blowing fire air at me, and made it home after, about almost an hour sitting in traffic, and just really trying not to sweat. So I was pretty worried. So I looked at everything, and I had some little creases, but ultimately it was fine. I've messed up my tans way worse from just other random things that have happened. So it was fine. It was great to have some time to dry, slept, and then the next day was show day. So the things I got in my athlete bag, it was really fun. There was more than there usually is. There was no shirt, which I was kind of bummed because I like having show shirts. I mean, even though they're not usually ones that like I'm going to wear like out around, I usually just cut them up like this and end up wearing them to the gym, but it's still kind of fun. It's a little reminder of the show. So there were no shirts, which was a new thing, but I did get a cool athlete bag that had some fun stuff in it. So one of the sponsors of the show was Colorado Discount Nutrition. So they had made up some swag bags, which was really cool. So there was a shaker cup and a little supplement funnel. I actually got 2 supplement funnels, which was cool. They had a full size, this is a huge bottle of a pre-workout called All-In. So it has all the normal stuff you'd expect in a pre-workout, but then also like some hydration add-ins and sodium. There's only 18 servings. These scoops must be huge because this thing is heavy. So that was pretty cool. So pre-workout, it does have, I think this one does have caffeine, and I've been trying to avoid caffeine on my prep. Yeah, has 300 milligrams of caffeine. Yikes, for 1 scoop. So if I did, when I try this, I will probably just use a little bit of a scoop, not a whole scoop. Like a quarter of a scoop is usually all I do with pre-workout anyway. So that's really cool. The other thing that was in there was kind of funny. It's this Clean Mass XL. So this whole container, right? Let's look at the size of it compared to the pre-workout, right? It's big. This is 1 serving of this mass gainer. There's 100 grams of carbs in this. Like 100 grams of carbs, 4 grams of fat, and 30 grams of protein. It has 560 calories for one. I mean, this is one serving, but it's a mass gainer. So I will pass this along to someone who needs a mass gainer. That is not me. But kind of cool. Real food ingredients, and the cleaner carb uses pea starch for less bloat, better absorption, better digestion, and a lower insulin spike. Clean food for clean gains. So this looks like a kind of cool product, but I don't use mass gainers, so the flavor sounds delicious. Triple chocolate cake, like that sounds so good, but I won't be using that, but we'll pass that along, and that's really awesome. And there was a pair of really, really nice quality wrist straps. I haven't used wrist straps. I used to tape my wrists occasionally, but I don't use them anymore. So again, this is probably something I'll pass on to somebody who uses wrist straps. I mean, these are really nice, like really high quality, super thick. They're from Gasp or Better Bodies. Better Bodies was there too. They had a huge area where they were selling clothes. I didn't really walk through it much, but they were there at the show. So that's really cool. And then I got a couple of $10 off coupons, which is pretty cool. They said it like no purchase necessary, but like you could literally just go in and like get something that was like $9 and get it for free. You don't get the money back that you don't spend, but it was really fun. And I talked to the guy that owns the location here. He was really, really nice. I'll talk more about that on my show day vlog, but he was super nice. So I got 2 of these for $10 off. There isn't one super close to me, but for $10, I might drive a little bit out of the way to pick up some stuff. They said they beat Amazon prices on things, so that's cool. There's also a towel that I have not unwrapped. I guess I could look at it. I don't know what it says. I'm guessing it's from Armbrust would be my guess. No, oh, it's Gasp. It's Better Bodies. It's a Better Bodies. That's cool. 100% cotton. I'll use that. Always need a towel. So that's cool. The funnel, it was all in this bag. These bags are kind of handy just to like throw in, especially like to keep in the car. Like if you're on a hike or something, you forget a bag. So I do kind of like having some of these. They don't last forever and they usually end up breaking eventually, but cool to have. And then this had a gift certificate in it from the other show sponsor, which was Elixium, which is a local kind of anti-aging clinic. They do, men's and women's hormone panels and peptides and IV therapy. They're not really very close to where I live, so I probably won't end up using this, but that was really, really nice of them. That was super awesome. So that's what was in the athlete bag. Oh, and there was also a bucked up energy drink, which is in my fridge. And maybe a little single size sample of pre-workout, maybe, that I threw in with just kind of threw in a drawer. Oh, and a couple of protein powders. I should have grabbed those. Yeah, there were a couple of packets of protein powder. One from, it's like a Chips Ahoy flavored one, and then a Mutant, and then 2 little pre-workout, just little single serving samples. So that was all in there too. So that was really cool. So it was a fun bag. Like I said, no shirt, but really fun stuff, which was really cool. This is more stuff than I've ever gotten. There's usually just, maybe some flyers and other things and like one energy drink or something, but not really much. So that was really, really cool. So let's talk about the things that I put in my show day bag. I've actually already unpacked a lot of it because I needed to do like massive laundry. When I got home from the show last night, I started a load of laundry right away because, you're just so gross with tan and then multiple coats of tan and multiple coats of glaze, and you just haven't showered. So everything you've put on is kind of funky. So right away started a load of laundry. But the few things I did put in my bag that I want to talk about, one of my big hacks for show day, at least for the shows I've done, is I always bring my own gallon of water. So I got one of these big gallon jugs off of Amazon. The very first show I went to, they had like turned off most of the water fountains. So and that's all there was to like get water, were these water fountains or the water from the bathroom. And I get it that a lot of people aren't drinking a lot of water on show day, but if you need water, it was really hard to come by. So like, wow, that was a big lesson I learned from my very first show. Always bring my own water. Just fill up my gallon, and like you can see there's just a little bit left. I drank all the rest of this yesterday. And actually at the venue there was water. It was a really cool venue. And again, I'll talk about that in my show day vlog, but there was water, but typically there isn't. And it's just handy to have it. And you also don't run the risk of like splashing on yourself, because that's the other thing that can happen if you're using like one of those water dispensers or even a drinking fountain and it splashes on your tan. You just don't want to play with that. So as much as I can, I control every variable I possibly can. And one of those is bringing my own water. So I had my gallon of water with me. I also had my pump up bands. I ended up just really using one, and I got a great pump. So this was perfect, super handy. A couple of people complimented me on the pinkness of it. Do love my pink. So that was really cool. I have a travel pillow. So this is just a blow up pillow. It's super lightweight and it compacts down really flat, but then it blows up. You do spend a lot of time kind of sitting around and laying around, so this is super handy to have. Highly recommend it. If you don't use it, it's so flat and so light, it doesn't really matter. I also had a blanket. The blanket is in the washing machine right now because it was gross because I literally had it on the ground. Blanket or a towel, I recommend bringing both. If you have a towel or a lot of people bring like a yoga mat. For me, I always find the blanket is better because you can just stuff it in a bag. A yoga mat is harder to kind of squeeze into places and it just kind of end up being not as helpful. So I just bring a blanket, just like a throw size blanket is what I bring. My pillow, I had a backup suit. My other suit I will wash today. I've mentioned before in previous vlogs that you should wash your show day suit as soon as possible after the show. It's actually, my suit stayed really clean. It doesn't even really look like it has any tan on it, which is awesome because I've gotten tan stains on previous suits and this one didn't, I mean, at least from my cursory glance at it last night, had not picked up any remnants of tan, which is cool. I also took it off though for most, I put it on obviously in the morning, sent check-in pictures, wore it until prejudging, and then I took it off for the several hours until I went back on stage. And it was probably 5 hours between when I got off stage for prejudging. Yeah, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like almost 6 hours actually. So during that time, I just wore a pair of shorts. I had a little bag like this with a change of clothes. Highly recommend bringing a fresh change of clothes, even if you're not going to go out with friends or family for dinner. The other thing for me that I always am really wanting to put on after the show is a bra, because I haven't worn a bra. After you get the tan, you can't put a bra on. So all you've worn for like support is your competition top, which is not, it's just not the same. So like I always really like putting a bra on after. So I always throw a bra and a change of clothes, and I always am glad I have them. There's that. Those are my pump up bands. I had my showday jewelry in this little bag, and then I had I bring all of my backup jewelry. Ooh, what else was in here? There was something in here that I did not wear. Oh, it's earrings. I had 2 pairs of earrings, and I'll talk more about why that's important in my showday vlog, because something happened there. So this was the stuff I knew I was gonna wear. And then of course the backup pair of earrings. So my ring, my 2 bracelets, and that's it. So that's what was in here. And then I actually had all of my other, like just a whole bunch of just like spare jewelry with me also in this bag. Like just tons of extra stuff. And that way, if a competitor needs it or anybody needs it, I mean, it's super little to just throw in there. And I would love to be able to, help somebody out if they had a bracelet break or an earring or something, to be able to, hey, I've got tons, like please help yourself. So backup stuff. Also had a bunch of gloves. I mentioned this at some point, that having a bunch of exam gloves, super handy. I mean, you can buy boxes of these at Walmart or Costco or anywhere. So definitely recommend bringing those. Just trying to keep yourself as dry as possible. And you will be shocked if you've never tried to stay completely dry and to not have any water splash on you. Just all of a sudden, everything in your world seems to be very wet. Lots of insert jokes here. So I had a spray bottle just in case I needed to do a refresh on my hair. I ended up not having to do a refresh, which was great, but I had this with me. I did use a little bit of hairspray. So after I got tanned, you kind of have to put your hair up in a clip. So I waited to do my final like shakeout and scrunching of my hair until after that. So took that out, did my hair oil, sprayed it, and was good to go for the rest of the day, but had that with me. I always bring a couple of these little microfiber towels because again, you never really know what's going to come up, and just to like, if you need it to, keep something dry or clean up a spill or whatever, they're light and easy to throw in your bag. So that's super simple. These are the spare crystals for my suit, just in case. They're little stuff. I think that's it that I had in there. The other bag I had with me was my 6-pack meal bag. So it had my 2 pre-prepared meals in it. So the meals I was going to be eating on show day, and then also my snacks, some pump product. I did do a non-stim pump before prejudging and before finals, just to help me really get a pump, and I loved that. I'm definitely doing that again. I feel like maybe I've done that once before at a show, but I don't think I have. So it was really good, and I got a really good pump, which was great. So I had all of that in my 6-pack bag. And of course, my gallon of water. I had my 40-ounce tumbler cup, so I could just refill that and sip it throughout the day. The shaker cup for my pump product. And then just some other like kind of random stuff in there in my 6-pack bag. Spare utensils, salt and pepper, a protein bar, just random stuff. So yeah, that's how tanning and my very hot ride home in the car. And then the next day, of course, I had to drive back to the venue with all the windows up this time because I didn't want to mess up my hair. But luckily it was only, by the time I was driving to the show, it was around 85 degrees. So that to me is great temperature to be driving around with windows up in the summer in the sun. And yeah, I'm excited to talk about how show day went in my next video. I appreciate everybody coming along. I know this wasn't a very interesting one. I kind of just need to get it out. I need to get to the store. Since I didn't do any grocery shopping last week, I need to restock things. I need to finish doing laundry. I need to clean my house. I feel like having peak weekend last weekend, I kind of just let some stuff go. So need to catch up on all of my domestic things. And I think that's it. So if you guys have questions or things you want me to talk about for my next week vlog, definitely leave them in the comments because I'll have time to look at those before I film my show day vlog. So if you have questions about show day or anything at all, please leave those in the comments below. I am so appreciative of everybody who watches. Yesterday at the show when I was wearing my Be Kind shirt around all day, I was just thinking about everybody who watches and has supported my journey. And I'll talk more about how show day went, but that was a big part of it for me, was just thinking about, everybody who's watched and everybody who's supported me. And it was a really special moment for me to kind of have that reminder. Just be kind, be positive, spread positivity to yourself and everyone around you. Oh, I'm going to cry. Oh, show day can be emotional. So thank you all so much. Please subscribe if you are so inclined. I would really appreciate it. And I will see everybody back here next week to talk about show day. And I'm going to cry on my way out.